All right, so I'm actually going to do some of the right side. So I'm going to isolate this just like before. I do want to say that they're not going to behave perfectly the same, and that's, again, really fine. It's not a big deal. For the most part, they're going to be doing the same thing. It's about the same amount of paint work. All right, once again, go to Form, create a cluster, make sure relative is on, and go Create. And this is a scenario where I could use the same values that I used to transform this one. So with this one, this cluster, this first cluster, which I haven't even named, I really should give it some proper naming. So I'll call it cluster breast tissue CTRL. And actually more specific, left breast tissue. All right, I'm just going to grab these names and just also use them on the handle. All right, so I'll grab this first cluster, go to its shape node, and grab this Z value that I used, because I can use the same value here, just so I can get some consistency and have it in the same place. And just like I did with the other one, I will hold down the D key and the V key and snap its pivot to location. All right, and this should also initially move that entire region. So I'm going to jump into the weight paint tool to make sure I have the mesh selected when I do that. Go into the weight paint tool. And this time, since I know that this additive thing doesn't work, I will not use it. I will instead do a replace and do my erasing. All right, so with a good amount of it shaved off, I can just do a smooth flood just to blend this thing nicely. Yeah, and that seems to be a nice flooding transition. So if I grab my control and zero it out, yeah, I should have the same amount of fleshy movement as I had on the other side. So this is a good result. Zero it out. And now it's time to connect it. This is a good place to show you how I'm going to reuse those position values. So I already had the other side duplicated, ready for use. So I'll go about the OPM constraining the same way and make sure that this doesn't have a number. So I'll go to my node editor and make sure I clear this and add this group, right? And yet again, connect my world matrix to the offset parent matrix field of this parent group. And I'll say that this bookmark is pretty much done. This is all that's going to be in here in this bookmark until further notice. So I can just go bookmark and go bookmark editor, just so I can see the name that I gave it, and go create breast tissue cluster CTRL bookmark 2. Go OK. Go to the bookmark editor, and I can delete the first one because I don't need it anymore. So I'll go delete bookmark because now the new one has all the information I need. All right, so this is what I meant. I'm sure there's probably a better way to deal with these bookmarks. There has to be a way to update a bookmark, but I've never run into that yet. I've never seen a way to do that yet. So that's it for the bookmarks, and let's go to the control. Just like the other one, it's oriented in the same way. Now, in order to match the exact movements I made. I really could just copy these values. You could do this probably with a script. So I'll just go to my positioner and just transfer these values. But the only values that will be different here will be the X values. They'll be the positive because it'll be the inverse. So if I go to my positioner here and I place my X, let me just copy all of them first, and then I'll see which ones have to be the inverse. Yeah, definitely looks like it might be that one. It's the Z. So let me start by giving it a negative and keep going. And the scale is just 0.856. So that's about what I did. Let me make sure that that cluster actually is, they're both in fact oriented in the same way. Yeah, it's the same thing. So I think this should suffice. Yeah, that works pretty well. And actually, the more I look at the controls, I wonder if they'll be in the way so much. I'm not sure. I think I'll just make it so they can be hidden, but I do feel like it might end up being in the way. So I'm actually going to select this positioner, and I can move both of them. Should be able to move both of them with no problem. Well, I've locked this one, so I will unlock this. And I'll select both positioners and move them forward just so they're out of the way. And I'll also scale them down just a little bit more. So I will grab the positioner and go with a 0.7 and go with a 0.7 here too. All right, and I think that's about the most I'll do with that. Now I'll grab this control just like I did with the other side. I'll lock and hide its scale, and then I'll grab its parent control here. Let me see what I did with this one. Yeah, I locked and hid everything, so I'll lock and hide everything here. And now that both of these positioners are in position and doing okay, I will also lock and hide all their parameters. So I'll go lock and hide so they cannot be accessed and keyed. All right, and I really should be testing this every single time. So I will grab this. Well, there's nothing to test yet because it's not connected. So I do have to connect it. Let me open my connection editor. So I'll go Window, General Editors, Connection Editor, load this on the left, drill down to Translate for now, grab my cluster, load it on the right, drill down to Translate, make sure I connect Translate with Translate, and now translation of this should move the breast tissue. Zero that out. And now it's time to connect rotate. So rotate to rotate. And we should be good with that too. If I grab this and I rotate it, it should rotate. This might not be as useful of a transform feature, but might as well give myself every available option, or whoever is going to animate this. Now I'm going to use Advanced Skeleton's control coloring system to color these controls because I think that's possible. So I'll go to Control Curves, and I'll stick with what the rig is already doing. It's green on one side, so I with this selected, I'll go Set Color. Yep, and it colors it nicely. And then on the other side, it's a red set color. All right, so that's our breast controls. I will probably connect them so their visibility can be toggled, but I won't worry about that right now. All right, let's do some organization here. These controls are already connected to the rig, so they can also sit in this group. I'm just wondering whether I should put them under blend shapes. Actually, for now, I'll just let them sit outside. I'll call it breast tissue control system. And I'll just let it sit outside here for now. When I start to figure out what I want to do with them, I'll probably dump them under blend shapes because it is coming by the way of the intermediary blend shape. Let me just test to make sure this is all functional. So if I scale the rig, it doesn't break and they're still usable. Okay, so they work. All right, so that's it for the breast tissue controls. This was a pretty fast one, and I'm glad I've gotten an opportunity to utilize my cheapest corrective deformation method or solution, which is these clusters. Let me gray this out, and I'm glad the workflow functions because advanced skeletons control system failed me. I'll be trying the soft mode too. I hope it doesn't break, but if it does, it's fine. I'm okay with all these options that are available. All right, so this wraps up the breast tissue work, and now we're going to move on to the really interesting stuff. All right, so we're going to move on to our sculpt deformers, and we're going to be working on the sculpt deformers for the abdominals and the rib cage impression. This will probably be the most complex one that I'm going to do. I think this one and the knuckles and the tendons and the fingers, but actually all of them are going to be really fairly complicated. On the legs too, I have some very interesting stuff coming aside from the crouch. There's some tendon stuff for the hamstrings that we're going to be working on. But right now, let's focus on what's coming. So that's going to be the rib cage impression and the abdominals. There's so much interesting stuff that I'm going to do here. There are some choices I'm going to be making here which are going to be purely artistic. So I will be shooting for an anatomically correct result for the most part, but I'm going to be doing something artistic that I think will be very interesting to showcase. And this system is going to come with a lot of additional controls because I'm going to talk about flexing on intention and flexing on just basic movement. Those are going to be two different things. I'll go into more detail when we get there. But yeah, so in the next lesson, we'll get started on the abdominals and the rib cage impression.